We will open this meeting of Thursday, October 15th. Let the record show that Selectman Scanlon and Selectman Jessamine are not present. At this time, I'd like to go into a non-public session per RSA 91A:3, and this is on tax, the sale in, sale of town property.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to the sale of property, town property, until the matters are resolved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, I let Johnny know. Well, I left him a message.
Are we red or green?
We're recording right now. You're live. I did not. We have everything done for the tax rate setting. Everything is in. DRA is reviewed, revenues, appropriations, warrant articles, everything. We had a few changes at the end, as we typically do, and adjustments, and where that leaves us is with two items that we have that we can work with. One is our fund balance, and one is the overlay. The overlay is typically an amount we use to cover abatements and abatement expenses, and that's varied widely with the amount of cases that we've had, or where there's been a big change in assessing or our valuation, things of that sort. At one point in time, the overlay had to be quite high, and we've kept it higher depending upon what was sort of in the pipeline, but there is an agreement. Joyce and I reviewed what the exposure is for the town, and neither one of us felt that we needed to keep as much overlay in this year as we have in prior years. So, and as long as we have monies allocated for legal expense, which we do, which really has covered, a lot of our other costs there, we should be fine. So the recommendation was for $30,000 in overlay, and then fund balance. We have an unassigned fund balance of almost $865,000 right now, and really it's the important thing, as I see it, is to try to use fund balance where it's appropriate to take out the peaks and valleys of, or more appropriately, the peaks from those years where we have some anomaly, or we've got something that has caused our rate to go higher that year, maybe revenue that didn't come through that we'd expected, or some other thing, or unexpected expenses. So, and by and large, we've been pretty successful at that. We haven't had any wild swings in our tax rate. But last year, we used $275,000, and because we ended up the year better in terms of revenue and expense than we had by the end of the year from the time when we had originally set the tax rate, we only saw our fund balance go down by $238,000. I think it's quite possible that we're going to end up in the same type of situation at the end of this year, provided we don't encumber too much, and provided we don't look to spend everything that's in the budget. If we have some areas of savings, those will help offset whatever we're projecting to use for fund balance here. So, in other words, if we end up revenue and expense-wise end up $30,000 better at the end of the year than if we used, say, $230,000 in fund balance right now, we'd only see a net decrease of $200,000 in our fund balance. So, it's I would say it's a high probability that we're going to be in that type of position where we're going to see better year-end spending everything that we have in our budget. So then it's really a matter of if the recommendation on the overlay is fine, it's really a matter of the increase in the tax rate. If we use $180,000, we're looking at a $1 increase. If we were to use the amount from last year,
We're looking at what? I'm trying to plug it in, but it's not acceptable. Google Drives won't let you do it because you need an app, and the app tells you you can't work it with an Android.
oh,
Do you
okay.
have it printed out? Can you print to this printer?
I don't at the moment. I could print out copies for you.
Can you print
I
this?
can show you right here. You can
I want to
plug
write
in-
on it.
You want to write on it.
Just write it right on that screen.
Give me that.
But are you able to see what I'm doing there?
I'm able to, well,
You should be able to
change it. Did you
see.
change it?
I changed it to 275,000.
Let me see if I can go back and come back again.
Okay. At 275,000, which is what we did last year, we'd be looking at a 3.7% increase in our rate from 2208 to 2290.
So,
They go with that one.
That leaves us just under 5% percent of retained fund balance, at just under
All right,
$600,000.
I refreshed and it came back. I had to refresh and come back.
So now I'll change it to 250.
What if I changed?
250,000 would put us at a $22.95 tax rate, or up 3.96%.
And how much of the fund balance would it leave us?
And that leaves us just over 5% at 614, almost 615,000 of fund balance
With 250,000.
with 250. And
how much of the fund balance is cash?
well, it's very difficult to determine.
A third, half? 80%?
The reason being, fund balance represents the net liquidity of the town.
Yep.
If you were to sell all our assets, clear all our liabilities, that it represents basically the town's value.
everything.
It's everything.
But
It's
for
the
me,
chair you're
it's
sitting
important to
in,
know
practically.
what is actually represented by cash, because essentially it's there, yes, in case we get abatements in, unexpected legal, but it's for any emergency, any unexpected emergency financial issue.
Well, I can tell you that,
You know,
that our
truck blows up in the public works garage overnight.
well, and of course, but we maintain insurance for those things, and so our risk is limited on that type of thing. What would be a problem for us would be if a bridge washed out.
There you go.
But vehicles, we should be covered by. Buildings, we should be covered by, that type of asset, but, with the exception of our...
Earthquake affecting pump stations?
There you go.
with exceptions. But in any case, there is some percentage, if I gave you a number, I'd be wrong. So that's why I'm hesitant to give you a number, but I'll say half.
I say you gave one heck of a spiel to her. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was,
I ask it every year.
yeah, but you know what? His
That was a good
report
one, though.
back to you was excellent.
That was a good one.
It gets better each year.
Gets better each year.
I'm still going, oh? Frightening, isn't it?
So anyway, with 250,000, if we start to look at year end and budget for about a $50,000 savings, that'd mean our fund balance would actually be going down about 200,000.
And
So-
our tax rate would be,
Our tax rate would be 22.95 in that event. So just to give you a sense, the school, we did better with the education grant, and when everything shook out from the school, it represents a 3.02% increase. County went up 1.12%. Fire went up 5.13%, and right now, with these figures of overlay and fund balance, the town rate would be going up 5.9%. So, but the overall rate would go from 2208 to 2295, and that's a 3.96% increase.
What does it look with 225,000?
So that's a 4.18% increase and $23 even. And that leaves us with 5.3% retained fund balance. Now, the percentages, I have to tell you, the Government Finance Officers Association puts out this kind of a range from 5% is on the low end up to 17%. We've been as high as almost 9.5% at one point, and we've also had a negative fund balance, which is not a good place to be. But we've been able to maintain a 5% or better. You know, you could make the argument that too high a retained fund balance is really unfair to taxpayers as well, because we're maybe, you know, planning for the worst case, and, you know, so it's really a hard thing to know. I would say, from a historical basis, we've probably been in the 5-6% range, and that's been, I don't want to say a comfortable area, but it's been an area that we've been able to plan with, work with. Cash management's worked with that. You know, our borrowing hasn't been excessive. You know, so it's a workable, comfortable area for us in that range.
So we used fund balance last year to lower the tax rate. Did we
Correct.
do that in 2013?
We did.
Did we do it in 2012?
We did.
I believe we did.
So,
I think every year we've used some
yeah,
fund
I mean,
balance.
It was
It
low, a
doesn't-
lot lower, but
it doesn't give people a real picture
Well, but Catherine...
really happened. I mean, I know this is leftover money that we, you know, raised and didn't use, and it's one way of giving it back.
Right.
But on the other hand,
Well, it's a way of giving it back in the same year that you received it. Otherwise, we'd have to wait a whole nother year. And really, it's more fair to people that are paying tax in that year to return money to them.
but some of
during
this fund balance is because, like this year and last year, because of things that happened in our employee staff, we end up with these extra monies.
right.
That's correct. However...
That's not a real picture. Now, we're fully staffed at the PD, so next year, barring any unforeseen health issues, I don't even want to know what that payroll's going to be.
Right, but if we had known, well, we know what the payroll is, and it's in your dashboard, by the way.
I haven't looked.
But if you...
Niall.
I mean, if we were to have known ahead of time that we didn't have certain staff, we wouldn't have budgeted for them. So therefore, the rate would have been lower because of that.
But yeah, but that's unpredictable. You couldn't have known that. But
No, I'm-
essentially, the amount of staff we budget is for is the amount of staff we need theoretically.
Right. So all we're saying is because...
Because we save some money on staff?
Because we save money on staff.
It's still an
We didn't need it,
artificial-
we return it. Why would we keep
Well, we're
something
not
that we
returning it
didn't
with all that
use?
explanation, is what I'm saying. So people look at it, you know, either they
That's
say,
true.
whoa, you know,
That's true.
they, you know,
But it is something that...
overestimated their budget, or,
Well, legally, with the contract, we have to budget
right.
for the positions that we anticipated people were filling for the year. So, but I think that is something, even though it takes a little explanation, I think it's important because it shows that the board and the town, you know, aren't hanging on to money that really wasn't needed during that year to operate the budget, operate the town.
What are your thoughts, Peter?
I think I'm agreeing with Tim that returning it the year that you've raised it's probably the best scenario to follow.
but we're not actually, this is money we raised last year, because we don't know how much is left over this year.
Well, but
We're
we
kinda-
are in a sense. I mean, we are Yes, it's somewhat anticipatory.
There you go.
Somewhat, but I have a pretty good sense of where we're going to end up. I wouldn't want to say that.
If certain things don't take place.
Well, so, that's why I said, depending upon encumbrances and what we might,
So
what
we have to
projects we might
determine,
do.
number one, if we want to put some fund balance into it, and number two, how much of the fund balance. Is everybody okay with the overlay? I'm stepping on your feet here.
I moved it, that's okay. I stuck it way over there.
Are we all set with the overlay amount?
Of 30,000?
I'm
Would you
okay
like to
with
see?
So you're looking at a total of
I'll come down.
255? 255 to lower the tax rate?
So here's the,
255?
Well, I got 30 in overlay and 225 in fund balance.
Yeah,
That's 255, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
I only see two.
No, the 30,000 is, we're raising that. We're raising that 30,000, so that's an expense, the 30,000.
Okay.
So you're really
So
looking
it's
at
225.
195, a net of 195.
Okay.
So, and then down below here,
So, and that's, the 225 is bringing it 23. I'd rather go just under the 23 mark.
You
just
don't want to
under.
break that next, makes sense.
I don't,
All right, so let's see, 230. Let's see, so 230,000 would be 2299. However, DRA has the most arcane rounding.
yeah, so go
So
250.
let's see if we can, let's try 240. Okay, so that'd be 2297, so it might be in the 2297.98 realm. That's at 240. And I do think it's very likely that
And what
we'll
percent is
see-
that?
That would leave us with...
What percent
just over-
increase in the tax rate?
Oh, what does it say? 4.05, so just over 4%.
I hate that it's going up, but it has to. I get it.
But here's the thing. If you eliminate everybody else's and just look at the towns,
Yeah,
We're up
yes,
by what, 6% is
that's
it?
correct, yeah.
yeah, but if we didn't
6.24.
consider everybody else's in there, I don't know.
We're not considering everybody else's. Look at it, see, it's 6.24.
I see it.
But if you look at the total dollars that are being raised, that's the reason why it's being diluted down to an overall 4%, because the school and fire and county, when you look at total dollars raised.
So if you're just, what you're saying, if you just take the 240,000 and apply it just to the town tax, what our figures would be?
Oh, no, that's showing, no, that is applying to our own town tax rate. That's not going to the overall rate.
That's what I thought it
No,
was.
that is, yeah, that's what, if it weren't for that, I can show you what it would be otherwise. So you'd be looking at, you can see what the town portion increased by. Now, just keep in mind that there's a great deal of effect between our revenue and our expenses.
Call it the Jamie Dow syndrome.
So it's not just, that doesn't reflect just our expenses. That's also taking into account what we've experienced in revenues. So anyway, there's no point in saying that, but I just wanted you to see it, so.
I say go with the 240,000. I'll make a motion to that effect.
And would you also include the overlay?
And $30,000 overlay.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded for 240,000 of the unassigned fund balance against the tax rate and 30,000 overlay. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So that will bring the tax rate to,
2297.
what
Now-
was it?
2297.
Now, what happens now is...
Unofficially.
Unofficially, because I'll go
What-
down and enter that in DRA's portal, web
And that's a
portal.
5.17%?
405.
405. Oh, you're talking about the retained fund balance, yes, 5.17, if that's what you're looking at. So the next steps are, I'll go plug these figures in, and I'll submit it. It goes to
Where's the
the commissioner.
4.05?
Down at the bottom, if you scroll down.
I don't know, I have this.
Ready at 2297. Bottom line.
I don't have it because I have a, get this app thing on my screen.
I'll tell you what, if you bring that in tomorrow, your
Okay.
Thrive, I'll make sure you can get to this. So, yeah, it's right there at the, isn't that it at the bottom? Oh.
And if I say, no thanks, it doesn't go away.
Okay. All right.
Get the app.
Or if I say, get the app, it tells me, it'll come up and say, it doesn't belong to Android.
Well, mine does that all the time.
I'll fix that for you.
All right, I'll bring it in.
Yep.
Me too.
Yes, be happy to. Are you able to see the bottom line? You can't get to the bottom line either?
It's all right. Done is done.
All right, okay. All right, so in any case, once I click submit, it'll go and be passed through the DRA final process where it goes to the commissioner for signature and all that sort of thing. And I would think within a few days, we would have that back from them and the rate would be final. And then we'd know whatever rounding took place, if any. But it should be either that or 1 penny difference.
Okay. Sounds good.
Great.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
We have minutes, minutes, and minutes.
I wonder if I could get those in a different...
Did we say that this was okay to post on the board or no?
It's charity.
Yep.
What does Peter say?
Do you see this?
No.
We want to see if we can post it on the board. If we do it for one, we have to do it for all of them.
I hate Google.
I'll support the cause. Yeah.
Hate
All right, yes.
Google.
Peter says yes.
Okay.
So it's a yes? All right. Make a motion, we bring the minutes of September 14th, second draft, to the floor for discussion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Sure.
Specifically, you just wanted to expand on the concerns, which is the second article.
And you added Chris Bucket.
Okay, I'm good with this. Make a motion, we approve the minutes of Thursday, September 14th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have.
Bring the minutes, second draft of September 17th to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Specifically adding Clapham under the T. First paragraph under High Street on page 1. Page 3, High Street block billing paragraph. And taking out the number staff document under the chief's report.
What was the one under the chief's report?
Medical,
Taking out the
medical issue.
Oh, okay.
page 4, Clapham, looks like
The chief agreed that he would get the prizes for the Halloween. I don't see a mention of that. Just said it was suggested to have costume prizes for the, page 4.
And the chief said he'd do that.
It was suggested to have costume prizes for the children as well as the businesses. Yeah, he would seek donations for the prizes. more concerns, corrections, additions? Make a motion, we accept the minutes of the September 17th, second draft.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 September 24th. Make a motion, we bring the minutes of September 24th, second draft to the table for,
First draft, right, the same.
the first draft, okay. For discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Sure.
I hope we have an opportunity to talk about Ernie's and the boundary pins.
There's a pair that beats three of a kind.
Because they're full house would be.
Well, cars are racing through it now.
Like a speed bump?
Or two. The building doesn't shake if you jump up and down on it anymore.
Page 4. Under athletic field lights, Tilton School. If you go up to the bottom of the first paragraph, Selectman Dawson agrees it's a reasonable path to follow. There's many options. There are many options.
Picky, picky.
Hurts the brain.
Does, you right?
In the next paragraph, after sitting down with Ms. Gates to discuss the options of blinds.
Say that again?
To discuss.
T.O.
After Ms. Gates to TO. To discuss.
I think this is an option for the board, but I don't think that, I really don't think it's proper to add who's on vacation, who's on paid time off, and
Did I?
I
You
agree.
copied the chief's report.
Down
Yeah, down the
of
bottom.
four.
That probably isn't a good idea.
I just put upcoming vacation.
no.
You want it off? Okay. So we'll just leave up that line on.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that would be good. I mean, it's good for him to tell us that, but
The entire police department is going to Manchester for an event. Yeah, we don't want to know that stuff.
No, they're going to be at the fire chief's house on Super Bowl night. Did you see that, Pat?
I did.
Highway's going to be at Johnny's.
I actually heard that Super Bowl night. I got 3 phone calls. Any other corrections, concerns?
No.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as corrected for September 24th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Johnny, you're up.
Pick a seat, any seat.
Any seat will do. Long time no see.
Now, some of us have a JOB.
Me too, I was with him.
Some of us are old and retired.
Oh, bite your tongue, lady. I might be retired, but I'm not old.
I'm old and retired, and I like being old and retired.
Joe's not here, but we'll put one here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Would you guys rather get these in email this week or something, or?
Whatever's easier to me, it's
You're still
fine.
going to have to print them out for me because I write on them.
What's that? You write on them? Oh, okay. Keep that in mind. And this one, that one's for last week when I had to come in on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And this one's the one we did this week.
All right.
Gee, if we did these bi-weekly, we could teach them the 1 to 2 button on the copier.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, this is a big step forward.
Yeah?
I didn't print one up for next week, but I can tell you what we have planned. We actually have a full week. Plan on doing the bridge next week. We're supposed to get a warm day toward the end of the week, a couple of days. I'd rather wait till we can get warm, sunny, and be relatively sure it's going to be that way. Because this time of year, the paint's going to start slowing down. We got together with Northfield. Obviously, they don't have a paint sprayer or nothing, but they're more than willing to send people over to help us. You know, we paint it, they'll help us, flag, whatever it might be. So, you know,
How come they don't have a paint spray? How do they paint their lines?
you hire somebody, at the same time you hire them for the center lines and edge lines and stuff,
Oh,
the same company.
interesting.
Well, they had one, they used to have one, but it broke years ago. And
Is that the same time you're going to do the transition side to on the sidewalk where
Yeah,
that
I'll
tripping?
get all that taken care of all at one time.
Okay, good.
And then I'll try to plan out, if I can, for the same day. It may take us a couple of days' worth. We'll go over, paint the police parking lot too. And I think one of the parking stalls are missing
At least one on Main.
on Main Street. A couple.
Might be a couple.
Yeah, we'll look through those.
We don't do the 20 feet from a sidewalk or intersection thing.
We don't do that?
Not here.
No, you fit the spots in.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was driving big truck around it.
Just make it a challenge for you.
But yeah, we'll plan on getting that done. And tomorrow I'm gonna go down to Grange Hall, see what we can do about getting that fixed.
Did you go up and take a look at it?
Yeah, we did. We took some pictures.
On the side of the building?
Yeah, I think that's where it is. Arthur and I went and looked. We thought we were gonna have to get up in the roof, but it really looks like where Dennis must have tried to fix it the first time, is where it's probably leaking. Because it's right on the corner, because there's two different roof lines, because the building was probably added to.
Yes.
And where it could be leaking from there, what we'll do is, it looks like it's bent up some more again, so we'll probably cut out a section of the plywood, because it looks like it's starting to rot, and maybe get another piece of drip edge, rebuild that corner, and then tack it all down, and put caulking over everything to try to get it to stay caulking, or I'll look into some wet or dry material or something. And at the same time, we'll put up on the other side, the weather stripping has come out and fell down.
Oh, that's what they said that was the rubber that was hanging?
Yeah, it's the weather stripping they put underneath it. It matches the contours of the
Oh,
metal
okay.
roof.
Okay.
So it just slides back in, and we'll work it back in and maybe drive a couple of screws on the outside of it to hold it from just falling out again.
Could animals have done that?
I suppose they could have,
Raccoons love weather stripping, but you'd
but
notice,
it'd have to be kind of a small, because there's not a lot of room between.
you'd notice it, it'd be kind
Yeah.
of shredded, bite marks.
Yeah, I didn't see any bite marks or anything. So, but we'll get all that taken care of tomorrow. The guys, we expected 3 days on chipping, so we rented a chipper this week from Taylor Rental, and they got it all done. I think Wednesday we picked it up. Yeah, Wednesday we picked it up, and we did behind the police station while we were on our way through. Cleaned that up, and they cleaned up some limbs along the back of the parking lot. And we got all the brush chipped up, so tomorrow, since I already had it scheduled to keep anyway, we'll go up and start cleaning up the area where the police department's gonna have their impound area. We can cut all that and chip it at the same time. And
While you bring that up, I haven't mentioned to the board the suggestion of moving it across the way.
oh, you haven't brought it up?
No, so we can talk about that now. When I was up there last week with, we met Superior Fence up there, the chief and I, discussing the gates and how they would work. It was kind of problematic because the site that Dennis Allen had picked out, that was the only spot he wanted to see it up there, it was the only spot available. It's wet, it's not level, it's very near that rise in the road that goes up to the brush yard. So the gates was a real issue, and how they were going to work. And I believe it was Arthur, or was it you?
It was Arthur.
Was it Arthur?
Yeah.
Suggested moving it across the way where the ground is level. It's not wet. It's much more accessible when you come in with a tow truck to back the car in there. The only issue is there are a lot more trees on it, and there's two very large oak trees. I talked to the excavator today, and he wasn't sure how much extra it might cost. He wasn't comfortable in cutting down the two large oak trees. And I talked to Johnny today, and you said your guys probably wouldn't want to tackle them either, because they're pretty big.
No, actually, I talked to him once I got back. I went out and looked, and Larry's going to cut him down. And if he'll do it on his own time, because if we want, he'll take the wood to
Perfect.
That's the deal. Because I was going
Say
to say,
the excavator doesn't have a thumb?
he has a thumb, but he wasn't comfortable in cutting the trees down that
Oh, you
long.
grab,
A good sized tree, good.
Bobby Claridge broke down about like that on the end of Crystal.
Yeah,
With the hammer.
I've seen
Just-
Bobby cut trees, but this one
He
was,
didn't cut, no, he didn't cut, he pulled it out and
Oh, he
just
pulled it
laid
out?
and laid him down.
I'd like to have been there. But at any rate, this is great, so that's great. Then the excavator won't have to increase his price to include somebody that's going to,
Do you know when roughly does he have a date to start or anything?
no, because he said that you guys had posted it? They'd measured it
Yeah,
out,
it's
they'd
posted.
staked it, and he's
It's
called
posted.
Dig Safe. So that's 3
Okay.
days for Dig Safe, right?
Yeah, at least.
Okay, no, I'll call him back tonight and talk to him and let him know that he doesn't have to worry about the trees, that we have somebody who'll cut them down and take the wood, so he'll just have to worry about stumping it,
Yeah.
clearing the stumps.
So
We might be able to pull some of those too with our backhoe.
That'd be fabulous.
So when you can start on cutting the trees out in
Anytime.
that area anytime, correct?
Yeah,
Tomorrow, okay.
Tomorrow, because I figure we already have the chipper.
Yeah,
When did he call Dig Safe?
Well, we're cutting down, we're not,
You don't have to worry about it? I don't know.
just when
I
you're
never-
digging
I never-
Dig Safe is below grade, he's working above grade.
I never called Dig Safe. I always rely on the homeowner or the contractor.
So,
I'm
yeah,
sure as
that's
heck
below
not going
grade.
to call him for a fence post.
So that would be great. You
Perfect.
can get started on that, and then as soon as Larry can,
How quick is
Well,
Larry planning on,
well, the thing I was just thinking of is if we cut them down, we can buck them up, not.
just get it out of the way, yeah.
Get it over on the other side of the road.
then he
out
can
of the
take
way.
his time hauling it away.
Yeah, so that way he can just come pick them up at his leisure, on his own time, and
Right.
you can have them. So,
I
yeah.
was saying hello to you, Chief.
Yes.
Yeah. They interrupted my thought.
No, that's great news, because then there's no increase in price there.
Right. It's excellent
And like I
news.
say, afterwards, we can check into, if we leave enough up on the stump, we might be able to pull some of the trees out ourselves, because we can pull some with the backhoe, but it's obviously not as tough as an excavator, though. So if we can't get it, we won't break something.
Because the fence fellow held his price, even though we added an extra gate for people pass through. We got him to hold his price. That's what he said, right? You're the witness.
And as far as the evidence locker, it can stay where it is if you guys want. It's not hurting
Perfect.
us a bit, and it's probably easier access for the police department.
Oh, yeah.
Great, that's great news.
Thank you.
We can get
So,
started on
good.
that.
It's all working out. All right, good.
All right, go ahead.
I think that was primarily it, what we're doing next week. I've been doing several projects trying to make them come together as far as RFPs for the sidewalks and everything. Took the measurements out here, I just gotta take one more on the other side of the street, and I'll try to figure out how many tons, so I can try to get a unit pricing. It's gonna be kind of tough getting unit pricing, because I'll have to contact different people for how much would you charge for resetting granite and all that. And the problem around the building here and stuff is mostly, the cost is in the removal. You know, I wouldn't recommend that we do it, because we're so close to buildings, you know, the professionals probably would handle that a little bit better.
You're not professional?
We get by.
When are you planning to do your winter hire, your part-time?
I hadn't really put a date on it yet. I can probably try to get in contact with them.
When was Dennis's was sort of November, right?
We had two. One for plowing,
Yeah.
one for sidewalk, and one started later than the other. Remember that?
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out
remember.
why,
Oh, we
because
have two winter-
snow,
You have one for sidewalk?
Yeah.
One
So
for-
how come every winter the sidewalks suck in the mornings?
Lots of plowing? I don't know.
Well, if you hire someone to do sidewalks, isn't he doing sidewalks?
He's part-time.
Oh, yeah, he was part-time.
part-time in the
And you start after school begins, it seems, because they're never done in the mornings early.
They would never
Unlike
be
the
done
surround-
before the, they
So you need
wouldn't
to
be done
listen
before the,
to-
right.
So
Why?
much better. Because the sidewalks have always been kind of problematic, especially
Well,
Main Street.
Yeah.
If you park on Main Street, you can't get to the sidewalk.
Well, if I have enough people, and depending on where the storm's going, I was just sitting here thinking, it's a little different with this machine and the fact that you have somebody on it. What I used to do in Northfield was, couldn't carry enough material to,
But you did it during the storm,
yeah.
as does Franklin.
It was one of the last things I do, and I tried to keep in mind when the schools were
Right.
opening, so that I can try to be done by the time.
Before the kids, sure.
And that's what I'll try to do here.
And it's not necessarily all the sidewalks, but basically the downtown heading that way.
At least the ones that they travel.
Yeah.
So I would think that,
Right.
and what I'll try to do, depending on the storm, is get somebody to follow them. I can find out roughly how far that box of material gets them. And I would
plan.
suggest using, when I used them in Northfield, I used straight salt, because you can throw some sand in if you need to for some traction, but it's on the sidewalk. Not a lot of traction, and dial it down. And salt works faster than this, sand slows it down. But I'll try to get him to meet up roughly where he's going to run out of material, so they can refill it and keep him going instead of trying to come back to the shop. That's where you lose a lot of time.
Sure.
Anytime you are running that machine or any type like it, you run out of material, you have to come back. And the thing is, you don't salt it every time, just like the road, you don't salt it every time, you just salt it to open it up. And a sidewalk is different than a road, you don't have to salt it the first time around, because it's
You're
not getting
opening it
packed
up.
down like a road is.
Right.
So, one should do the trick. But in a case of a heavy storm that's going right through, and just in case school is not canceled, I can say by, I'll just throw a number out, 3 in the morning, start doing sidewalks by the school and work your way out, so that they're done for the kids coming in. It's just a matter of...
A new change? I said, that'll be a new change, thank you.
Just my mind boggles with all this. Just,
Well, it sounds like that you would better determine when you need these new hires rather than us, that's my
Well,
opinion.
Yeah.
It's a good idea for me to get in contact
Things
with
are
them.
changing a little bit.
start doing it,
And
yeah.
start getting
A feel
lingo
for,
going for with it,
Exactly.
because if they're winter help, there's no real reason to have them until
the winter,
we start
right?
seeing some snow in the forecast.
Halloween, Thanksgiving.
But yeah, no, it's a good, I'll start opening up a little dialogue with
What's
them.
the almanac say?
I don't go by the almanac, they're all wrong. I don't even go by the forecaster.
Yeah.
The woolly bears have got very long spaces, and they're really hiding now in the wood piles, so you better pay attention to that.
Really long, light brown spaces, light snow.
I should show you a bald-faced hornet nest down in the stocking area in Samberton. It's on like a 30-foot birch. It's about 20 feet above ground with the birch hanging over. It's about yay big by yay big. It's a
I
monster.
had one of those on my house too.
Woolly bear
I had
caterpillar?
to throw a shovel at it to bust it open because I couldn't.
The one I
Couldn't
saw
spray
the other
in,
day.
yeah.
Yeah,
Big
just do
space.
that. But,
Right,
Yeah,
so-
no, that's good.
and also, you're going to look at
I
chippers.
also want-
yeah, I'm going to
See
look at chippers. And renting this chipper this week is, aside from the normal uses of it, to save that stuff up all year, and chip it all at once, you got bees
Sure.
and everything else, and a lot of it
Snakes, mice.
starts to rot and
Right.
decompose.
But you can clean up the leaf and all that area, the leaf and brush area, much cleaner than what it is right now without having to do.
Because
right.
if you got a light rain or a day that things just,
But even if you base the pricing, comparing the pricing to how you do it now, stacking it, then if we have it, you can do it whenever you want.
well,
Right.
it's going to cost more to buy. Because a good sized machine for, like the one we rented,
Yeah.
is going to be pretty expensive.
What's its life expectancy?
Well, I have to look into it. I know that in Northfield, for instance, they have a World War II leftover.
Well, those things were probably built right.
Yeah. So I'll have to look into that,
Sure.
but the chippers are like one of, for any highway department, a necessary tool. It's because it's good for so much more. One, if we're going out and cleaning up an intersection, you take it with you, just chip the brush and get it gone. On the side of the road at any time, things that you can't run and cut down with mowers. And then you got the storms and ice storms, you know, it'll take you 3 times as long trying to clean
Sure.
up after an ice storm if you gotta lug everything back.
Right.
So, no, it definitely.
So it's, in the long run, it'll be cheaper.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's a basic tool for us. So, yeah, I'll bring back some 3 quotes and
Okay.
talk with you guys and decide where we want to go from there.
All right. So, we asked you if there were, that was the one big ticket item that you would like to, if we could,
Yeah,
encumber,
if we
or
can.
purchase this year with, okay. Anything else?
No, everything's
Johnny?
running smooth.
We'll push the Trencher ordinance to next week, because then Johnny and Joe will be able to have input in on it.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Is Arthur going to attend the Green Snow Pro class at some
I
point?
got him on the waiting list, because there's a waiting list, and
Okay.
he's on the waiting list for the next one. Fred's in the class. It's because Arthur missed the first
Yeah,
one.
sorry.
So he's on the waiting list, but from what the lady that works at T2 that schedules these classes, she said there's such a waiting list, they may just go ahead and do another class.
Oh, nice.
So it's pretty popular, the class.
Yes, it is.
And it's a good class to get everybody to go to and get them to understand, to help understand. Because, you know, like they say, if you got a storm, let's say it's the first storm of the year, and it's 30 degrees or higher, you don't need that much salt to melt it off.
Right.
They didn't quite cover everything. There's a few tricks that I do to help, but they covered a lot of ground. Their big thing is don't put sand in with the salt. It's not really feasible sometimes, you know. And then when it gets so cold, you only use sand, which that's common knowledge, you know, like down below 15 or 18 degrees. I usually would go with 50-50 at that point, because it will melt at 18. It just won't melt effectively, but you got some sand in there for some grit. I try to get it down to as much as I can into asphalt. Like, for instance, the one that we had, was it last year, a year before? A year before, that was all, snowed like crazy, and then temperature just took a
Last winter.
nosedive right after.
Last February.
Was it last February?
Yeah, Manville was great because it never warmed up, so we
Well,
didn't
that's the thing.
get,
That's
we
what
didn't
I
get
was
the
worried
craters.
about. That's what I was worried about with Manville and removing the trees, is because, like I say, my experience, I have a lot of dirt road experience now, and we only sand those. They don't come open when the sun hits it. What actually happens, and it's not because it's all on the road, as far places I know of are far enough away, the sun will cause potholes, and I'm afraid just doing it for that reason
Well, you,
cause you even more potholes.
take a look at the trees there.
Yeah, and some of them probably should come out, but, and I don't have a problem taking all of them out, if we're doing it for a safety reason or anything like that. But opening it up will help if we use a low salt, which I would strongly recommend. And in case of Samberton, for example, when I worked there, we had some, what we called no salt zones, because they were around wells. We would just put up a sign here and there. The selectmen would basically designate them.
We have some.
You turn your spreader off when you get to it, turn it back on the other side. And what happens now is the traffic in and out will carry the salt back across them. And it's the last place to melt, but it melts. You know, so That's the only real solution I can see. It'll open up slower than the rest of town, but it will open up if we go that route.
Good.
So,
Are you all set with, I mean, it's been a couple months since you've been hired. Are you all set with, set your office up the way you want it? And
yeah, I've already started. I got to get the old desk out. I'm doing a lot of things with the computer, coming up with different programs to help
repeat that
me.
again.
Coming up with different programs to help me and paying the bills with Tim and everything.
They're blocked.
I actually moved, because I moved the desk so that on the other side of the room, so that I could get the computer on my desk. I was sliding back and forth. I was going to wear a path in the concrete. So, yeah, it's getting there.
Uniforms.
I ordered them for me, shirts.
Yeah.
Larry always wears Dickie anyway. He said he didn't want the pants, so shirts for him.
Yep.
About 2 weeks ago, after you guys had mentioned it.
Yeah.
And he said it takes about 3 weeks to come in.
Business cards.
I haven't done business cards yet.
The town of Alexandria, their Public Works Department, their shirts, their uniforms have the retro-reflective stripes on them.
I've seen some of those. I can buy those.
They wear, I mean, that's what they wear every day, regardless of what they're doing. That's their uniform, is that shirt.
I can check into that through a uniform company,
thought
or I
that
can
was fabulous.
purchase them. And what I did in Amberton too
Are
was
those T-shirts or regular?
Button down.
Button down? Because in the summertime, they may want to go to T-shirts, so you need a
Yeah,
couple.
they're buttoned down. They had short sleeve on yesterday.
I can look into that, definitely.
Extra cost is
And in
because,
Samberton, what I did was I bought all the guys sweatshirts. You pick the collar out, according to whatever your town collar is.
Color is right.
In our case, most places put their emblem on the front.
Yep.
With Samberton, because you had the 3 buildings and the logo, it just wouldn't shrink down that small and be legible. So I put them on the back, and actually everybody liked it.
Yeah.
I could do something like that if you guys wanted, and this way the guys would be wearing town
Sweatshirts,
sweatshirts
yeah.
in the winter, or just fall and spring.
see what the cost is?
Yeah, see what the cost is and
I can
bring it
see.
to us.
I know for us bigger guys, the cost goes right up, so.
That's all right. Just bring us the cost.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'd like to make sure that they know and differentiate that we have highway guys out there and we just don't have community service people out there working. I mean, there's a difference.
So, you clean up catch
Professional.
basins. You clean them out, or you clean
No,
them
this
off?
was, clean them off. Did I not put the off in there?
You put off, that's why I was curious. You clean
Yeah.
them off?
Yeah, what happens, especially now that the leaves are starting to fall down, we had a little bit of rain on Tuesday. Now that the leaves are starting to fall down, especially the pine needles, they blow and they go to the lowest spots and they get caught up on top of the
Great.
basin grates.
Yeah.
And it plugs them up.
Which catch basins do you do?
We take the guys and send them all over town, and you have them all over town.
But do you do them on Route 3?
No. I would, if I happen to see one getting plugged up and starting,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't mind if the guys stopped and just, because, it's all public safety.
If you see that it's getting plugged up, absolutely,
Yeah.
I would say.
But, on a normal basis, no, we wouldn't go clean
The
them
one
up.
up by the corner of Riverfront Park, closest to the Black
Just
Swan
here,
Inn
ours,
property,
not Route 3,
that one gets
DOT.
plugged up.
Okay.
That one can actually cause the erosion on the path in the park.
Okay, I'll,
Just, I don't know what it is about it. Does it,
Huh?
the one in the corner of Riverfront Park by Black Swan.
Plus, between that and just the runoff that comes down from
Right.
there.
we have that swell that goes over through there.
Yeah,
That blocks
because
that.
the stone dust path on the Black Swan end will get a fair amount of erosion. There's quite a bit of water will run
And
down.
sometimes, like I said, it's caused by that block culvert. You inspected the 60? Got inspected?
Arthur took it to be inspected today, and it failed. What happened is the dashboard lights and stuff quit working.
Oh.
It's probably a short. Arthur already started by this afternoon pulling it apart. I threw it on there like that because I knew you guys would ask. So it's got it's temporarily inspected for 2 months.
Yes.
I guess that's how long the sticker gets you. But yeah, he took it to be inspected, and that was all.
That was it?
Yeah, so
So
we'll
have
get
you
that
ordered
going.
the motor for the other car?
Nate's gonna order that, the police department.
So we're waiting for him to come back from vacation?
Yeah, well, you didn't want to do it until the car was inspected anyway.
That's right,
So, nobody was gonna order it until,
that's right.
I
That was the
realized that.
motion. Okay, so when can we get that ordered?
I'll make that happen.
Thank you.
Okay,
all right, so you got that one.
I got that one.
All right.
So we're dealing with vehicles because John's not here?
that motion was already made.
All right,
All right, I'm good.
okay. We're good.
All right.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right, I'm gonna slide Tim in, if you don't mind. He was here but forgot something.
Yeah,
Doesn't that
I
put him
did
to the
bring
end
some
of the
It's
line?
just tough.
I know.
I brought
I
some
know.
chocolate here, though.
I'm sorry, I had a lot going on
bribe us?
today. So, the one thing that I wanted to get the board's consensus on was something that I've been involved with the school district going back to the end of last year, and I talked to the board before about it, but it's, there's a program through the high school. Dana Folds, who's the teacher, is heading up this intern program. And so I had a meeting over there at one point to see, if there'd be opportunities for the town. And this is select students that have an interest in a particular area. And then it might be a few hours, a couple of times a week in the afternoon. She has about 5 or 6 of them in various internships now in Tilton, Northfield, Samberton businesses. And I thought it would not only be something that would be, show that we're good community support for students and helping expose them to local government, but also, there are actual tasks and things that would be a help to us here, particularly in Town Hall. And some of the things that Joyce and I have talked about this, and Daria and I have talked about it. I've taken Dana for a tour and introduced her to people here and discussed various options. But it seems like these would be very individualized things. They'd be very tailored for a particular student. So in any case, what I was hoping to do was to, and there would be maybe 1 or 2 at the most of these, and in turn, the student also receives, I believe it's a half a credit for 70 hours worth of intern work. So, and these are motivated kids, from what I understand, and I think it's a good thing for the town to be involved in. So I was just hoping to get a consensus of the board, if that'd be all right to proceed forward with, and let the department heads, if there's a meeting of the minds between Dana and the student and the department head, that they could go ahead and, craft something.
Any liability insurance-wise?
There shouldn't be. We're covered currently for volunteers.
Okay.
So,
Community service people.
Community service people, we've already checked into that with LGC.
I know, because she's run into roadblocks with some of the area businesses.
right.
Now, I think it's a great thing, but
Here's the
what kind of
but.
things do you see them doing?
Well, say in finance, every business does accounts payable. So, I could teach someone how to go through and not just entering things, but also understanding the components of an invoice, how you double check to make sure the packing list matches the invoice, and that it's a bona fide company, going through the tax implications of 1099s and having W-9s and what type of, if it's a service or product. And so that I could take someone to where they could actually come by and enter a certain amount of invoices. It'd be something that, of course, I would be checking and double-checking. I'd be responsible for the work, but I could, that's one area. Another area is where a student may have legal interest. This was something that Daria and Dana seemed to have a great discussion over, where there's a number of things that Daria feels there are opportunities for in land use and research and working with him on particular projects. There's a lot of opportunities, it
There's a lot
sounds
of
like,
stuff
in
in land use right now.
use. Yeah. So he's very excited about it.
He could
And,
probably use 3 or 4.
well,
right
I
now.
think if,
911.
right, I think if we were to have 1 or 2, and
Update the zoning and...
that, we'd be doing our part and also making sure that, we understand, if there are any bumps in the road with the program, that sort of thing, but it'd be very small and
Now,
confined.
these people would have to be supervised all the time?
While they're here, they would, certainly, they would, yes, I mean, unless they were proficient in what they were
So
trying
there'd
to
be
do.
definite coordination between if the person they're going to be shadowing in town hall is out.
This must be
they would-
open.
Oh, absolutely, right, yeah.
And who'd coordinate that?
That would be between
Alfred
probably
Hitchcock.
Dana and the, I'm sorry, I'm hearing their conversation. It was very funny. It would be between Dana, I'm sure, and the person that is responsible for the intern's work here.
Okay, so each individual who's assigned an intern would be responsible for the communication, coordinating that intern.
But
Okay.
I can assure you, it's not going to be on any large scale. So-
No, but on the other hand, I don't want to walk in here and find some young person wandering around aimlessly going, not sure what I'm supposed to do because the person I'm supposed to be working with
no.
isn't here today.
I
I could take them
I
to
mean-
check out failed septics and sewers and whatnot, but I don't know if they'd enjoy that.
They might.
That's part of, would tie in with land use, wouldn't it?
There you go. So anyway, without objection, I don't know that the board necessarily has to vote on it, but if it's a consensus of the board, and that's good to go.
I think it should be in the minutes for indemnification
Oh, well,
purposes.
that's a good idea then, yes.
Is that a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we partake of the, what are they?
Intern program?
Intern program offered to us by the Winter
Is
Swim
it
Regional High School.
intern or an ELO?
Right.
Extended Learning Opportunity?
Both, I think.
That's the new term.
Intern/ELO.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you
Great.
go.
Thank you very much.
You just have to play music
Thank
by
you.
ELO when they're here.
Then they won't know what that is.
That's right.
Have a good night.
Night, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. $402 calls for service since. 7 arrests, drug possession.
Since the 7 of us.
I was going to say, okay. Wow. So we have
I see that.
409.
402 calls for service, 7 arrests. And then it lists what some of the arrests were. And then I threw in this week, I was just checking to see where, for citations, officers have written 1,742 citations so far this year for speeding, stop signs, distracted driving. And this doesn't include written warnings or verbal warnings. It's just citations, which involve fines. And
Can you read the last sentence?
It should be.
There were at approximately, there
They
were
were-
approximately 20 stops today.
Oh, so take out the F. There were approximately.
Approximately 20 stops today on Cedar and the area High Street. And, we just want to remind people in those back neighborhoods to drive slow and obey all the
Were
signs.
they ticketed?
20 stops.
20 stops.
And they were all
The
ticketed?
officer was there from 2:30. I went by. I live there. From 2:30,
You one of the 20?
2:30 to 4.
Yeah, because they were there when I came through.
18 stops.
Yeah.
One of which was unregistered, distracted, had his phone.
That must have been, was that
That
the
was
one?
and
That was the one that he was in the car, door open. We had an oil delivery truck ahead of me coming up the street.
But 18 within 2:30 to
Yeah.
4,
But-
he stopped and ticketed.
But remember your traffic count in that
Hey.
time frame.
That's right. But
Huge.
this goes to answer John's question of last week. How
Right.
many are we stopping?
Yeah.
How many is there, the force out there checking if they're speeding? How many? Well, and from
If-
2:30 to 4 today, on Thursday, we got 18 within an hour and a half.
And if you get one person
Plus-
from each business and one or two from the schools, the word will
Right.
spread.
And then within that pile, we got someone that happened to be on the phone talking with, driving an unregistered vehicle, so, I mean, that was a bonus, but...
Yeah.
Is your intention to do this every day, as often
Well,
as you can, at least a couple of times a week,
So just
at random
the hard part about selective enforcement on one street is that at that same time period every day, we get requests for numerous streets. So I get requests for School Street, I get requests for Silver Lake Road, I get requests for Prospect Street. So, especially like School Street, Prospect, and it used to be Academy. We don't get them. Remember, you and I went down there. We used to get a lot of requests
did.
for Academy. But I get them all at that same time period, from 2 to 4. So if the
Yep.
people on School Street are like, Chief, we want enforcement all over School Street from 2 to 4, it's going to draw the resources away from Cedar. So it's tricky.
It's amazing how fast they travel down Silver Lake Road. They come off of Route 3, and by the time they get to the railroad tracks, they become airborne.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, but you
To
could,
answer your question, it's hard to say I can be on,
Right.
we can be on one street every day because...
No, but you can
and- yeah,
rotate.
yeah.
Or any
rotate
street.
enough to
Calls for service can change that.
Yeah, but we will...
the lightning.
I mean, we will move around, we will hit
Right.
these areas, and
Okay.
we will ticket. And I think, basically, I just want to let the public know that we're out there
Yep.
and to drive carefully, because, today's an example, 20 people left with tickets. And like I said, 1,742 tickets so far this year is, with the number of calls and the work volume that we have on top of the traffic enforcement, I consider that a lot, because we do a lot of criminal cases, too. So then, jumping down to major crimes, we put something on Facebook. In the last couple days, we've seen an increase in, vehicle thefts from vehicles, garage thefts, property crime in the downtown to School Street, to Cedar Street area. Detectives are working on that. We recently made an arrest with a couple of Tilton suspects that had done several burglaries in Northfield. Northfield PD came over and identified all the property, so we're kind of in process right now of getting all that property back to the owners if possible, and in prosecuting that case. And then we're still working with Irving Oil and Gilbarco on that skimmer case. That's actually turning out to be fairly big, and at some point we're going to be working with the FBI on that. And it could involve Irving flying one of our detectives down to Gilbarco's headquarters with the skimmer, because we can't lose the chain of custody. But Irving's checking on flights, and there's some coordination going on about that. It's a pretty big case, and they had some instances where suspects had actually cut the face off of pumps just in order to dissect the system. So basically, they go out and look at their pump, the whole face is missing, cut out with a saw. Yeah, so that tells you. But it's organized retail crime, but it's sophisticated. Training, we have read interview school going on at Tilton School this week, Officers Gilman and Glenner and that. It's going well. That wraps up tomorrow. I have the ICP Chiefs Conference coming up 24 to 28.
What is IACP?
International Association of Chiefs of Police.
Okay. Where is that?
Chicago. And I won't miss a meeting. The way it falls, it's on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
There's
Tuesday.
a deli?
Are you saying bring back a Chicago sandwich?
Can we all put our order in on that one?
And I'll be representing New Hampshire as the president for that. They cover all my costs, by the way, the association does. They'll reimburse any expenses.
Did you hear that, Joe? It's fully paid,
Fully paid.
except for the chief's hours.
Officer Murray is still in FTO, so we got her signed up for the January 4th Academy. She would graduate April 22nd if everything goes good, so just want to keep you on the update on that.
Is it official that she's going to be in?
She'll still have to take a PT test with everybody, and let me see, January 4th, that's probably going to be somewhere around the second, third week in November. She'll have to do that PT test, and she's been training for that. And from what I'm told, she's doing great. And jumping down to Fleet, the utility vehicle for detectives, that's actually out on the road today. They're using it. It's in service.
Yay.
And thank you for everyone who helped put that together. And the captain spoke with Arthur, and he was told admissions, but I think Johnny had mentioned that it had something to do with the dashboard system, but
Electrical.
Dashboard lights.
dashboard lights.
Meatloaf.
But anyway, they're working on that. The 3B goes in for some warranty work, head gasket replacement on Monday. And I love warranty work because it's free.
If the 3B's going in, don't we have a 3A? Is that also under warranty?
It is, and
So will that one be?
well, I mean, I don't know that we haven't had any issues with it, but
Well, I thought the warranty was...
yeah, I mean, I'll follow up on that. I don't know if
Yeah, okay.
we haven't had any issues, so I think the issue with the 3B, they said they would totally cover it. But I'll check to see
Okay.
if the A is something that should be, I guess, preemptively done.
Right.
Maybe. Building, Chambers did a great job on the parking lot, and Highway came and cut down a lot of small trees behind the parking lot, and I think Johnny mentioned that they're looking at striping it in the very near future. Just thanks to everybody, the board, Highway, we really appreciate it. It looks like $1 million. No more trip hazards. And it's going to be so much easier to plow and shovel, and the water flows into the drain. It's
Oh, that's
just,
key.
oh, yeah.
Now, 18 by 8.
The cap came down,
It's not
and,
very big.
Well, I have an issue with it saying toward the bulkhead.
yeah, I told him to stay away from where the air conditioners are, so he must have measured somewhere else. But he said that he would not impede any of the storage space for the AC units, but I told him to follow up with you guys as to exactly where this 18 by 8 would be, but he said he did calculations and he felt that would cover what's in the storage trailer now. Yeah.
Plus,
But this wouldn't be for evidence, obviously, this is just for the file cabinets. And he said that it's something they could do, because I talked to him about getting quotes, and so I'll have him come back and go down with you and take a look at it together, but
Pat and I had kind of paced off an area down there. If you walk in from the stairs, not the bulkhead, you walk in this, and leaving a corridor, there's the air conditioners to the left. And just going to the south of them by the support poles, and coming up from the back wall,
Right.
and then going back over.
Around the support poles.
Right, and leaving, you'll see that there are some files stored on the right, just leaving a corridor to get through, because those files on the right won't always be there. We had a water issue on the stage, and that's why they went down there.
Yeah,
They need
their
to be
sewer.
put in file cabinets and gone through.
I wonder if that's where he measured.
I'm not sure, but
So-
it seems to me that's
So
bigger
you-
than 18 by 8.
Right, because you have,
Where's that space in relation to?
so here's the bulkhead here.
Field trip.
And
I want to say, do you want to take a minute?
we can, and here's the post here.
I
So
have a tape
actually,
measure.
you really want to go this way.
That's where he measured.
No. I'll
Okay,
hold it.
Yeah.
but he's only doing 18 by 8. This is a lot wider than 8.
Yeah, no, he said with the cabinets together, that's what he needs for space.
Want to take a
5-minute recess.
5-minute recess? Shut the camera off, please. We're going to go downstairs. For that tonight. Okay, back from our break. So we've measured
I took
downstairs, we took pictures, tell them exactly where it is. So 12 by 19,
Yeah.
really it works out to be a
You know
little...
what's nice about that is it's easy to come down the bulkhead and boom, right there.
And instead of doing 4 fence walls, you could attach it to the wall and just have the 2, which would be less expensive. And then have a gate
Easier to
going in.
secure it.
And then
The
lock.
poles.
Yep. All right.
The other thing, too, I put a note there is, through the 1033 surplus reutilization program with military equipment, you can get things like storage containers like the one we're renting.
Yep.
And I know Littleton got one. It's really driven by availability, and you have to get it yourself. So if it's like in Portsmouth, I would have to buy someone lunch to go pick it up, basically. But then you own it, it's yours. And so instead of renting it, so the captain's checking in to see if there's any in the area that we could put our hands on instead of renting one. And that would be, it's basically the exact same thing. It would be great for evidence with, you know, all the, so we wouldn't have to put it in the Sally port. So like the bulk evidence that we can't.
Where would you put it? Over at the impound? On the side of the impound?
Or, you know, if we, depending on what it is, if it's like a kayak or something like that, as long as we secure it inside the
Take
container.
2, call me in the morning.
Double lock it, I think we would be okay.
You can have a seat,
So,
stay a while.
It would, I'd be able to give that one back to Tilton, so it would save money. So,
I'm in favor of that, as long as we don't have it at the PD.
right, no, I don't want to put anything. I'm with you, we just repaved the parking lot.
Yeah.
There's no space over there anyway.
Just dump it out.
Only expenditures, the cap got some boots for some of the officers this week, and then...
Are they motorcycle?
No, winter. And then he got a high-vis jacket and bulletproof vest for Officer Murray.
She does.
Couple notes here on vacation and out, and then events. The Tanger 5K walk-run for breast cancer went well. It was a good turnout. I think when I was there that morning, they estimated 750 runners and walkers. The route was different this year. They didn't loop around Vista Heights. They went right up to Lancaster Hill and then back down again. And everyone told me that worked out better
Yep.
than running the race through the back neighborhood.
Yep.
But that's a tough one. It's all uphill. But really good turnout, and it was a great morning. And then just to remind people, we're doing the downtown Halloween, October 30th, and this will be the first year I'm going to try and reroute traffic around Academy. And I've talked to some of the businesses. They're excited about it. I talked to Cheryl at Polly's. I talked to Bloom and Iris. I talked to some of the hair salons.
Now,
And the Rotary is still working on their haunted house.
are you getting prizes?
I'm working on that. I don't have them yet, but I will.
Adult and children?
I'm going to try and do both.
Are we going to try to
You
do
mentioned
both?
that a couple meetings ago, I think. So,
What do you want? We're getting low.
and then flu shots are at the PD tomorrow morning
Well-
from 9 to 10.
Let's go back to Halloween, because update on Halloween, this is from Cindy Reinhart's. Update on Halloween. Scott from Gay Reels has arranged 94.1 radio to come down for the festivities. Also, a couple of non-Main Street businesses will be setting up and giving out candy, i.e. Franklin Savings Bank and Northway Banks. The haunted house is coming along across from Onions, Rotary is doing that. There will also be some games for the treaters to enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I talked to Cheryl from Pauley. She's excited. She's going to set up outside and do candy outside. And, we'll have music down there, and it'll be great for the kids. It'll be safer. And we'll be able to actually flow traffic better that way than trying to trickle it through downtown and worry about a kid getting hit.
Yep.
And it's going to be a nice, if you've ever been to summer fair downtown, it's nice for the businesses. I used to enjoy that. I did the dunk tank in uniform.
I remember.
So this is kind of a Halloween version of summer fair, hopefully. So,
Now, the flu shots are 10/16.
Tomorrow.
9/16,
No,
10/16. See, I was juggling several things.
today, I know.
I don't usually have this many typos.
The bicycle donations
The electric one.
on the e-bikes, I noticed that we still have the e-bikes. Tim said donations are coming in, but we don't have a total donation to cover both the bikes. Can you find out where that's at? And see where we're,
Yes, I will. I know that Walmart and Tanger donated money towards a bike unit,
the bike unit, right.
but I know Matt and the CAP and a couple other people working on donations just
They
for the
had,
e-bike.
right, for the e-bike, to keep the e-bikes, which I think is a wonderful idea. I mean, to get down, something happened on the trail, it's 2 minutes. If something all the way up, it took them, 3 minutes to go up to McDonald's? I mean, seriously, that would be a
Oh, yeah,
great asset.
they fly. I took one down there. That was unbelievable.
Catherine,
Gonna have to run radar down there.
Do we have handheld radar?
We do.
we do, all right.
So the bike guys can,
Catherine,
They do make a battery operated one that's LiDAR, it's laser. That we don't have. Ours has to plug into a signal lighter.
is ours one of the safe ones, or is it an old one? Well, they were getting a lot of cancer, state troopers and whatnot.
right, from the
And they-
radar guns.
They pretty much pinpointed those handheld laser devices.
Yeah, I mean, we were told, like, when it's on, don't, like, officers would...
Don't
back
sit
in
it
the-
with your lap.
Yeah, so it's pointed
Ouch.
on.
Now, the laser ones, how much they go for?
For a couple thousand.
Really?
Yeah, but they have a battery pack, they're... I think there are some models that will come down to the 1,400 range, 1,500 range. They're in that, I'll say 14 to 2 range. But they're... And I think the other piece with them, too, is you can get highway safety money to cover half of it. So let's just say it's 2,000.
Can you check into it?
Yes.
Okay. Catherine and I attended a rant session with New Hampshire DOT on closing down the lights, and we tried to explain to them that some of the lights, it would be a detriment. I mean, some of them, it really didn't matter to us if they wanted to shut them down. We could, of course, assume the cost, and we weren't willing to do that. But the one at Market Basket, where they're going to shut, here's Market Street right here. Here's Market Basket coming out, Market Street. And then here's the exit coming out and in. They're going to shut those 3 lights off and leave one opposite the street on, and then this one is going to be shut off too. So can you incorporate a letter? I really couldn't because of the knowledge. I'm only limited to a certain amount of knowledge for safety and public safety and all of that, and obviously, it would have been a huge benefit for you to be there, but you weren't. So if we can show them cause, they will leave this one on, okay? If we can show them that. The other one, we found out, which Catherine probably will explain a little later, but the other one that we thought, right here, the park and ride, we said it was a huge drop for undesirables. We need not to go in any further than that. He said if we could get a letter to that effect. So we were talking one-on-one, and then as we were leaving the building, he ran out with his card and said, could you get a letter from the chief to this effect? Here for the park and ride, to have that stay lit?
Is that next to Benson's?
No, yeah, yes.
Yeah, Sequantis had, I suggested they at least, instead of shutting this one off, shut this one off and leave this one on.
Right.
The one furthest in the back.
Right. You see, right here, the green indicates they're leaving it on, the red indicates that they're going to shut it off. These are all the ones they're going to shut off at exit 20. So, well, across from Tanger, all that whole stretch here is going to be shut off, except one at the intersection here, going opposite. There's going to be one light, Route 140, right at the lights. There's only going to be one street light. All the rest of them, all around, are going to be shut off. So here, there's along the exit, the oncoming ramp, they're going to be shut off here and left two on, and then no lights on the on-ramps coming southbound. And then when you turn right and you're hit with Market Street, coming out of Market Basket, that light's going to be shut off too. And I tried to explain that people go into the right-hand lane to get the lights, to go into Walmart, not thinking you could go into Market Street at the same time, and others know you can go into Market Street. It's a big cluster there, and people are coming out of Market Street. Now with no lights, it's going to be very dangerous. Plus, so if you can get a letter to him indicating that, with your language, that this is a public safety issue, and this is a public safety issue, and if you feel any of these are a public safety issue, then you incorporate them as well. But this is, do you need the information on this?
If it's okay.
No, I
too.
have.
I'm going to talk to the fire department too, because a lot of gas tankers take that off ramp and they're going to put that in darkness,
Right.
and sometimes it's gas.
First, no.
Gail, can you make a copy?
They're gonna go
Just
flying.
make a copy of it, and we'll keep a copy for our records.
And so,
Which one did I take?
yeah, and none of that incorporates storms, like during the really bad storms, a lot of cars get stuck or slide off that ramp.
Can we replace the lights with a sign, hairpin turn ahead? Maybe that'll help.
That was in the back seat. I must have picked it up when I picked up my stuff.
Need some chocolate, Jane?
My stuff fell out at one point. I've got Rogers.
Address it to?
Sesame?
He's got the,
Peanut?
Gail's making the card for you, a copy, so we can keep it for our records. But do you need this? The map?
Maybe I'll get a copy of it. Maybe Gail tomorrow could make me a copy.
Catherine has a copy, and so the board has a copy. You can, how about this one?
That's fine. Yeah,
Is this okay?
Yep.
Is it color coded?
And
Is this all right?
Yeah.
So-
I'm going to have...
The other one that's a safety issue is this one at Ashalot.
Oh, yeah, that was the
Right
other
after
one.
you cross over the railroad tracks, there's
Yeah.
Ashalot. So they're going to take this light out. Now, you know, when you're headed down Silver Lake Road, you come
Paper.
up on that track, you don't see that entrance dash lot.
Right.
Ashland's
Plus,
right
it's a
there.
railroad crossing, and it's an active crossing.
And the railroad crossing's within 10 feet of the, not even 10 feet of the exit.
It is active.
It is active.
I heard them go by this summer.
When's the last time a train's gone by there?
I heard them this summer.
Yeah.
Most of them are just going to 3M.
According to the Rail and Trail, they are active, it's an active trail.
When's the last time the hobo train's been down through?
I don't
Well, I don't know
about
if it was the hobo. I think it was the cabooses that I heard. I'm not sure.
They have slurry, the slurry they use in their manufacturing comes by rail tanker. Because if you catch them right, you'll see them there at Manville.
Now, you also should know, they're going to take all these lights down up in Winnisquam. And if you notice on their map, they have the boundary line incorrect. The boundary line in Winnisquam, I don't remember if it goes down Route 3 or if it's on the north side of Route 3, but it's definitely not on the south side. You can see it in the yellow map. All these lights, they're going to take off, except for the one at the intersection where there's no longer a fire department, but they're leaving that light on. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. But yet they said that they don't have lights at intersections because that's not a safety issue. Of course, we all know 60, 70 years ago when they put up the lights, that's why they put them up. They put them up at intersections. That's why we have them at intersections. It was kind of an interesting conversation. But just so you know, all those are coming down.
Are they going to have a sale on light poles?
Are they actually coming down?
No, they're just shutting them off.
The aluminum
Do you take
poles belong to the state, so the PSNH will actually take the fixture off. I don't know what they'll do on the wooden poles.
So PSNH owns the fixture?
Just like our poles.
Well, some of them have been up for many, many years.
Work on things if I'm going from week to week. I leave it on this side.
I also discovered that a lot of the lights up in Winnisquam, we're paying for them. PSNH is paying for them, and we're paying for a couple that are in Belmont.
Why are we paying in Belmont?
I have no idea. I just let Tim know that, and,
Yeah.
I mean, nice thing is to
We'll
get
follow
shut
up.
off.
Did you confirm where Pleasant Street?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get
All
that
right,
off.
so do we have any more business for the chief?
Have
No
you
questions?
traveled west and stopped at the Taco Bell intersection? Have you noticed the left turn arrow is in the wrong lane? They're one set of lights short. You go to the next set of lights, they've got an extra set. You've got a light on the pole, lights on each lane, and then the left turn arrow. At Taco Bell, they're missing the middle one. And that left turn arrow, if you're sitting in that left through lane, it's right in front of you, so when the light changes, you still see red if you glance quickly.
So the one that's missing is eastbound or westbound?
It would be westbound.
I'll go look at it. I'll leave you.
Go there and then hit Tanger, and you'll see it sticks right out.
If that needs to be fixed, I'll call them.
Oh, it definitely needs to
Oh.
be fixed. I saw some road rage there this morning.
I'm sure during commuting time when they're
Well, there's
racing
a
for
car, I mean, it was an older person, and they're sitting there,
Yeah, red light.
you know, and she's got a red arrow.
Yeah.
And this is green. I'm like, I was 3 cars back, and I'm like, okay, this is cute. I was able to pull into the right-hand lane to get by her.
Yeah.
The other person that was honking the horn, she's still sitting there. It's red! I could hear her little brain working. I went by slow, and she's looking up at that light. The car behind him was going ballistic.
Yeah, I have a call on the Bill Lambert anyway. I left him a voicemail yesterday or something else.
Heather,
Yeah, tell him it's going to get interesting.
Heather, you had your hand up.
I have a question for you, Bobby.
I wanted to say something to the chief before I left.
You can't leave anyway, because I want you to
Yeah, no.
talk about this issue. Okay.
I was at the flagger school yesterday. Oh, Johanna and I are certified flaggers.
Certifiable.
She aced her test, I didn't. Anyway, I was talking to the instructor, and a question came up, do the police officers have to be certified? And he said, yes, they do. Are all of ours certified?
Yes.
They are. Did they get that training at the police academy?
So we had to train the trainers at the academy, and then they came back and trained everyone at roll call.
Okay.
So the answer is yes. The whole state.
So they train them to sit in the car to do traffic control, I guess.
That's a no-no.
Just saying.
All right, Heather, go ahead.
Thank you, Bobby.
I just wanted to say thank you to the chief. This weekend was Saturday. I got a call from a former client who's sick and has cancer, and she was scared. She had medicine in the house. Somebody was trying to break into her house. And she had reached out, Grace wasn't happy with some of the information, but I was able to text Bobby, and Chief took care of it, as he always does, and he called one of the officers. They went down to visit her, put her mind at ease. She's texted me now 3 times to say she feels safe in her house, so, thanks.
Very nice.
Nice to hear.
Bob, here's that big map. All right, we have one other thing with you in a non-public that I'm trying to figure out where it is. No.
Yeah, we wait for you to come,
Hold
Jane,
on
and then we
there,
do
because
it.
it's not just happened just this minute. So,
Just this minute?
not yet.
Sure. She's busy.
Christmas, the holiday, Tilton Northfield Samberton Holiday Fund will be taking applications.
Holiday? I prefer Christmas.
Christmas fund.
Thank you.
It is Christmas fund, but some people have asked if anybody can apply, and anybody can apply. So, we're taking applications after November 1st, and till the first Friday in December. The deliveries will be made December 19th, Saturday. And we want to thank Tom Blant for all his wonderful years of service to the fund, but he is retired now and moved to Florida, so he will no longer be assisting with that effort. So we have new elves in charge of working on that project. So please, applications will be downstairs, they'll be at all the town halls, and they'll be at the Community Action Office after November 1st.
Should we put something on the website?
I'll do a press release.
But could we put something on the website that would enable them to download the application?
The only problem with that is it'd be perfect for the seniors. The only problem with people when they download that application is each child is shopped for individually. And if there are blanks and there are no phone numbers, a child at 14 might wear a size 10, or they might wear an adult extra large. And so if, for instance, myself or one of the other shoppers are out shopping, we're really scratching our head. I can't tell you how many times.
So what's the difference if they come into town hall and pick one up?
They pick it up, and then they drop it off with somebody, and they give it to, usually they either give it to myself, they give it to one of the other welfare directors or intake volunteers.
But if they print it off, say they fill it out, PDF it, if they email it back, you'll have an address you can at least respond back.
If they email it back.
Otherwise, if they come in and hand deliver it, can't someone still screen it? You know, if they come, you know, the problem would be if they mail it in.
If they mail it in or if they don't complete it, because
Well, but if people are checking it, you can say, oh, by the way, you forgot.
Mary does, we don't know what size.
But they should have phone numbers anyways, don't they?
That's always a problem.
Oh, okay, well,
Couldn't we?
in bold, no phone numbers may mean,
Yes, couldn't we have some instructions
Yeah.
there that indicate, if
yeah,
these
in the
fields are
event
left blank?
of discrepancies, a phone number is requested.
Phone number, just our contact
A
number.
contact info.
Contact info, because I'll tell
Yeah.
you,
No,
usually I'll spend the last Friday, Saturday night shopping, trying to say, what size is missing? Is this a
Right.
child's 5 or an adult's 5? Which makes a big difference when you're shopping for boots, for instance. So I guess it's important to have the sizes
Yeah.
really clearly designated. But yes, if they email it back to me, then I'll have an email.
Sure.
So we could try it out. But thank
What do you
you.
think?
That's a good idea.
At least try it out,
Try it out.
and we can
then-
work
but
work
yeah,
on bugs if there are, or...
Right. I just need the proper sizes because we're shopping for about 300 kids.
Sure.
Can somebody have a conversation with him tomorrow?
Thank you. With who?
Tim?
I could email him the form, because I have the form. It's a master we do every year. And send it to me, so it can be downloaded. And then it just has to come back. The elderly complexes already get them, because I send them to them, and then they collect them and they get them back to us. So that works pretty well. The only place we've had trouble with that is over in Northfield, collecting those, because they didn't want to collect them last year. I'm hoping this year they will. I talked to Glenn Smith already about it, and he said he'd be happy to help.
Well, very nice.
So that's holiday, and we'll be doing something with Thanksgiving baskets. The kids at school want to do it again, and I've been approached about donations about doing them. The kids at school want to do seniors, is what I've been told, so. Hopefully the PD will help with deliveries.
Absolutely.
Some of us turned into turkeys, delivering turkeys that night, so, we'll be,
Can we reach out to the disabled as well?
well, yeah. Elderly, disabled, and then the other people.
I'll help too.
You won't
Deliver.
see that.
And I will too.
All right,
Normal.
moving right along. I found what I was looking for,
I know.
and then some.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Catherine, do you have anything for us tonight?
Me?
Yep.
Yes.
Time's up. You lost. Three, two.
So, as Pat said, we were down at DOT talking about streetlights. So, first thing, the ones in Winnisquam. It looks like the state of New Hampshire and the town of Tilton have both been paying for the same streetlights in Winnisquam. It also appears that some of the lights the town of Tilton have been paying for are in Belmont, and some of the lights may be in Somerton. So they're not even in Tilton, but they're on our list that we pay. I would like to get the board's permission to tell Tim to call up PSNH and tell them, we're no longer going to pay for these lights. The state of New Hampshire has been paying for them, and we'd like a refund. And also to let them know that, some of the lights are in Belmont, not even in Tilton. No problem.
I'm good with that.
Get her done.
Okay. The other thing, we were talking, after we got done discussing the lights, we talked a little bit with the New Hampshire DOT people down there. And one of the reasons this is coming is because the legislature cut their budget. So, we all know when the legislature cuts the New Hampshire DOT budget, it affects the towns. Tilton suffers especially because of the number of Class 2 state aid roads we have that they no longer are able to do their summer maintenance on. Winter Street's a perfect example. Horrible drainage problem. It's destroying residents' lawns, and it's about to erode our sidewalk away. So I think that one of the things that we can do is, budgeting is starting, is to contact other communities who might like to partner with us, get a hold of our legislative representatives, and have as big a group meeting as we can have with all these representatives, and let them know that it does affect us. When they tell the DOT to cut their budgets, it increases ours. They've been diverting the monies from the, the road fund for years.
Yeah,
Who's been diverting the money?
state.
The state,
Well, you're talking DOT or the legislature?
the legislature, they use it to pay Superior Court judges because they're doing the local judges too as well, because they handle speeding tickets and traffic violations.
Shouldn't they be paid from the fines from the tickets?
Well, that was my thought, but they didn't have enough money from fines for the tickets, so they tapped into the trust fund, the highway trust fund.
Well, they also have used it for bike paths,
They've used it for a lot of things.
which should be for roads and bridges.
That's exactly
period.
right. So I think it's time that the only way we're going to get that message across is if we, oh God, I'm going to use the word, regionalize.
Make
Is
sure
that-
that that's a matter of record.
Is that a bad word, or
It is for me.
why? Live free or die, is that it?
No.
We're going to die if we...
Because I've experienced some regionalization that was just horrible. Basically, that when it's one thing for us to partner with other towns with similar needs, but when the county wants to regionalize our fire departments and our police departments, that's when it's horrifying to me.
Yep.
But we should join with other communities and get as many representatives across the river, just so we get a lot of representatives, letting them know that the towns are not in support of this and how it affects us.
I agree.
Okay.
Cool. Okay,
Next.
I'm done.
That's
Oh.
it.
No, I've got one more thing. Thank you for reminding me. This has been bothering me for years. Any of you who've been downstairs in our records room and had to look for anything? The records room in the basement.
Yes.
You know, you really have to send up a signal flare so somebody can come down and find you. And, I mean, most people go down there with no hopes of finding what they're looking for. There is no organization. It's horrible. I'm not sure who's on our records committee. By RSA, Board of Selectmen are on that committee unless they designate someone else to be on it.
I'll designate Jane.
So I think that, and
But you don't
I'm
want
bringing it up now, but we can discuss it again when the rest of the selectmen are here.
There's nobody
We need
close
to get
they're not
something
here.
going. The municipal officers or their designee, together with the clerk, treasurer, and assessor and tax collector of each city or town, shall constitute a committee to govern the disposition of municipal records pursuant to this chapter. Now, this only pertains to throwing away records, not storing them or organizing them. So we need to do something about getting
Well-
them organized.
Well, and with some of your organization, should we be talking to Tim to see, can we turn some of them electronic, PDF them, whatever, and...
I don't think that the Attorney General's office has resolved that as far as it pertains to 91A, because 91A, it's
Says we
the
have to hold
paper
on to
copy.
them.
It's the hard paper copy of our minutes.
But if you have a PDF, you can make a paper copy.
Right, but we
Still
have to
electronic, though, to
retain
them.
the paper copy.
Right.
So then maybe when we meet with our legislators, we mention to them,
They should hash that out.
in the electronic age now, if we have an electronic, isn't that sufficient, where you can still print paper from it?
Right.
I understand, like with the police, some of the evidence has to be kept, that's fine, but if we can reduce some paperwork.
Right, I mean, or keep it in one of those cute little
Yeah.
file things.
There was an old welfare file that appeared on my desk today.
Oh, I put those there.
Okay.
Nope,
I thought you'd enjoy them.
the welfare fairy brought them down.
I'm sorry, I meant to leave a sticky note.
Welfare files from the 80s, and I did find the old ones.
Yeah, so I thought I'd share them with you.
Thank you. I actually very well with it. They're too old.
Oh, good.
Red.
Shred. I just thought you'd enjoy
But I
them.
enjoyed reading them. I was like, wow. They were interesting cases.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right, I have a couple of things. I'll pass these along to be signed so that we can, we really can't really look at these and critique them. takes 3 signatures to do this. I want to make a public announcement and thank the Youth Assistance Program folks. They went up to the senior center and took all our outside furniture and put it away and cleaned up the backyard and did a very, very nice job. So thank you, Youth Assistance Program, for helping the seniors. The Trail Association and Rick Silverberg and Iris Iano met with the Sullivans yesterday to try to come to a resolve on the encroachment on privacy issue. The first issue was that the fence, they did not want the fence on their property. They did, later in the conversation, concede that it would be okay to have it on their property. However, they were not willing to pay half, which is what the Winnipesaukee River Trail Association had suggested, that they pay half of the $4,600 estimate that they received to put the fence up. And they were not willing to do that. So Rick left it with them that he was only trying to find the right word, authorized, thank you, to spend up to so much money, and that he would have to take it back to the board and get further authorization on the fence, and then he would get back to us. The issue on the grate was very explicit that it had nothing to do with the trail going in. It was the Trail Association that they were going to get that repaired after everything else was done. So then the subject came up of, this subject, one of the reasons why they were very adamant about the fence going up is that over the week, this past weekend, where it was such a beautiful weekend, there were many, many, many people, which is great to know, that were using the trail. However, families from other countries, not knowing the rules and regulations, had dogs off leashes, and they also, the adults in the group, were just walked on their property and decided that that was all part of the trail, and they were just having a great old time in their backyard. And oftentimes, there are dogs off-leash on the trail. And as we were talking, as Rick and I and Mrs. Sullivan were talking, Iris came later, lo and behold, a chocolate lab came up, unleashed, decided he was going to walk around the backyard and up the trail, and then a car way down in the distance over by the trail called him to come. So obviously it was a long distance neighbor down the road from the trail, and that he was off leash. The Sullivans recognized the dog, but it's an issue. I wouldn't want. They have dogs, and being a dog owner, I know the limits that my dogs can take in my yard. I wouldn't trust if a dog came into my yard, as little as my little dogs are. And they have very large dogs, so it is an issue, and it's very scary, and they don't want to be held accountable if people go on their yard. So that was part of the issue. And then the question came, who is going to put up the pin that was taken out, their property pin in the corner that was taken out. Who's going to put that back? And when I looked at Rick, Rick said, it's not us, because as explained by Joyce, it wasn't quite what went to Quantum. Well, if it wasn't quite what went to Quantum, that's not the town of Tilton's issue. We had it surveyed. We paid money to have that line surveyed. And there was a pin identified there. Somehow, from the construction, whomever it is, whether it's Lyman, whether it's Belknap Landscaping, whether it's Quantum, whether it was the engineers, whether somebody took that pin up. So somebody should be responsible to put that pin back where it belongs. And the owner shouldn't have to bear the burden of getting it surveyed to have the pin put back.
Was there a pre-construction video going down property lines to verify things?
Can you answer that? Because I wasn't around with the pre-construction.
Before we went forward with the project at Ernie's, there was I don't even want to call it a dispute, but there was a concern about where our boundary was, the town's boundary, and the Sullivan's property. We had a survey, I don't remember what was dated, but it was a survey stamped by a, licensed surveyor, probably maybe 8 years old, 6 years old.
99?
Derbyshire.
And
Was the one listed where David Krause referenced the pen but couldn't find it? I think that was like a 99. Yeah.
they, Kadiri didn't want to accept it because it was too old, which didn't make any sense because
Right. If the
a licensed
survey
surveyor.
closed out and all, it's still valid.
That's right, that's what I
So-
felt. But,
Did Krause's survey happen, or check on that happen before construction?
Yes.
yes, so,
He noted that it wasn't there. He couldn't locate it, as I recall.
No, not that pin.
I didn't think it was Krause that came in and did the second survey.
He checked the line with the missing pen.
He did. Because when Joyce was in and reported to
Yeah, Joyce
us,
had the plan,
I
the
thought
plans
she said
last
it was
week, I
somebody
think.
else.
I believe it was.
Bernier?
Tim Bernier.
Yeah. Tim Bernier.
Okay,
But nevertheless,
there was a note, pen couldn't be found.
someone came in and verified that that line was accurate.
The line was accurate, but as I recall, there was a note
Okay,
that they
but
couldn't
here's
locate
the
the pen.
question. If they couldn't locate that southern pin, how could they verify the line was correct?
Right.
There was I forget if there was you've got the full survey.
Well,
And
we
you-
only had questioned the one line, which is the line that we're talking about now.
Where the fence is.
The pin was in the asphalt. That was located while we were all standing there.
Right.
But the pin further down,
By the culvert.
at this,
Right.
when this took place, it was still shrubbery in there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they were supposed to either locate or locate where it was supposed to be. So the information that we got last week, to me, said, okay, they located where it was supposed to be, but never put a pin in?
That sounds about correct.
So what did we pay them for? I mean, why wouldn't a surveyor have put such an important corner pin in?
When they verified, they should have put a pen with their number, the cap with their
Didn't have
name
to
and
be a
number.
granite monument, or just a
No,
pin?
No, it's rebar with the plastic cap.
Right.
Cost you a whole, $5?
Yeah, I could have given them the rebar. So that's the quandary for me.
So the question is, who now is responsible to put that pin back? It's,
I
you
would
know,
go to the, whoever,
The
whether it was
surveyor.
Bernier or Krause, whoever did that survey, and said, yeah,
But there was one survey that Joyce pulled out that had that pin
That was-
marked on it.
right, that was the,
And that
I
was
think it was the Derbyshire, and it
and
was
that-
like 99, but yes. So they, and there was notes on it that they had located the line but couldn't find the pin. But with that information, they can locate it now and replace it. They have the information to replace it.
So my question is, why did we pay him all the money to survey it and not mark it?
That would be the question to ask them. How come when we were paying you to do this, you didn't replace the missing pin?
And that information with the pin, the information of where the boundary was before they did construction, that information went to Quantum.
Well, theoretically, I mean, I'm surprised that Quantum would have gone forward if that pin wasn't located. How did they know where the corner boundary was if that pin wasn't there?
Right, exactly. So they utilized it to,
3 properties intersect there.
that's correct.
Sullivan, Town,
And-
State.
Right,
How did they know where that was?
right.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
So I really believe Quantum's responsible for putting that pin back. Quantum was the one that utilized the data from the survey to where the location was. I would call Tim Bernier and put the pin back, and make sure he doesn't charge us for it. But what happens if he puts the pin back and it's in the middle of that culvert?
Sucks to be the trail.
Well, except for then the trail's going to go after the engineer. The trail will go after Lyman, Lyman goes after the engineer.
And until then, it remains closed.
Well, it would be the engineer that would have to locate all the points. That's standard in any contract like that. The engineer locates the points and you go from there. That's Quantum.
So I'm just trying to figure out a way to resolve this, to get that boundary.
If we paid for a survey,
We did, we paid that line.
and to locate
Yep,
pins,
we did.
and they located a pin that was not there, my
Okay.
question to them would be, why didn't you put a replacement one in? Or notify us at that time, oh, by the way, there's no pin, so we could say, pin it.
I have a copy, I've got on here Paul Derbyshire 228, looks like 2000, and it shows a,
Pin.
right there, 5/8" diameter steel rebar set, 127.99.
They told you 99.
Here's another one, iron pin found 111.99. So,
Is there any notes from another surveyor on it, or was that on Joyce's?
well, this is a copy of this, whatever I copied it from. The stamps aren't on. I'm
Well,
just
no, I
telling
know
you
it,
the notes.
but the one I looked at was like that. I'll look at it when Pat's done.
It only has my stuff on it. But we must have a file downstairs with all this information with these surveys in it. Do we not, Gail? Okay. Maybe you could locate that tomorrow? These are just the tests. So, if the pin was gone when we hired somebody to go out and locate that line,
Right. They
should have put a pin in, or we
Yeah,
shouldn't have
so I
paid
would
him.
go back to whoever did the survey
Mm-hmm.
and say, you verified our property line, yet you didn't tell us we're missing a pin, you haven't replaced it. We want it put back. And it can be on their dime. They should have done it when they were there the first time.
I agree.
Can you make that happen? Tim Bernia? I can help you with it, I think, in the morning. Look it up. Okay, wonderful. November 7th, there's a pancake breakfast to benefit the Tilton Senior Center. We got a call from Cindy at this, the program director at the senior center, that once again, there's a smell of a dead animal there. Terminix looked and there wasn't any. A couple of days later, we got a very different smell, and we called Terminix. He was supposed to go up, but I haven't heard. Have you heard from Cindy what it was?
Where is the pancake
Where?
breakfast? I'm sorry.
Applebee's, I'm sorry, Applebee's, November 7th,
Where's the smell?
in the maintenance room underneath the crawl space.
Does Terminix...
There's a bait box down
Yeah.
there.
Ah, okay.
There's a bait box down there.
I can go in there tomorrow if you want me to.
Well,
Don't eat the bait.
now, so here's another issue that we have at, no, I'm going to bring this up in non-public. Yes.
Coming tomorrow.
As it may, reputation, yeah. All right, so you stay for the first part of the non-public, and then you leave, and we'll take the chief, okay? Peter, do you have anything?
I'm good. I
All
already
right.
got it
I have a
handled.
question.
Yep.
This notice of intent to cut, did the tax collector report that they'd paid all their property taxes?
I would say yes, because that's what while she was
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to sign it. Usually, when we get these, there's a report from the tax collector, and it just indicates that all the property taxes have been paid to date. Otherwise, we can charge a bond. And that's what we do, typically.
All right, I make a,
If she has, let me know, I'll come in tomorrow and sign it.
if there's no more business to come before us in a public session, I make a motion that we go into non-public per RSA 91A:3. One is personnel, and the other is, one is legal, and the other is that which discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Got it?
I didn't see that our buddy Taser had any handheld radars.
For a hug from me?
Okay.
Nice.
Make a motion to seal the minutes in the non-public as they pertain to the reputation permanently and as they pertain to legal until such matters are resolved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 All right.
Did you read this?
The state, a long time ago. Is that the case?
No, this is the DOT Caleb Hill thing.
Yes, I did, and Joyce and Tim sent us notes saying it's fine. Tim was the last one to say it.
There's a default by the project sponsor of any nature to this agreement. The project sponsor shall be required to reimburse the department for all funds expended under this project.
How did they let that go?
I don't know, but makes me
There's
a little
no,
bit uncomfortable.
there's not three, put a line through it.
Well, I think I'd like to charm. I'm not going to sign it.
Can't go through because it doesn't have three signatures anyway.
Well, they're only asking for one, though.
No,
They have to
can't.
have...
They have to have
by law,
majority
a
of the board.
majority. They can ask for all they want.
There's three copies.
It's not a legal document unless the majority of the board signs it,
Right.
or the board votes to subrogate their authority to one, and we did not.
They can do what they want. So I would leave it until next week.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
I'll read
And we'll
it
put it back in here. We'll have Tim
And do we have a copy of...
revise it.
That's in the to be signed, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
do we have a copy of their manual for these road projects? New Hampshire Department of Transportation process for municipally managed state highway aid program projects, because that's what we're agreeing to follow. Did we have a copy of that? It's on,
Make a note and ask Tim for that. Yep.
it's here. At the top of the second page, B.
What is it?
It's
have
the
an old
manual.
one.
It's online PDF.
I have an old one. This is the manual, New Hampshire Department of Transportation process for municipally managed state highway aid program projects. Mine's about 10 years old, so,
It's probably online.
oh, it goes in here.
Where was that? Where
Just can't
did you
write on
say
it.
maintain, so submit?
Is that
If
it?
there's,
I'm not sure where this goes. Is that FYI?
yep. This is the case.
I didn't have a chance to read it, but that's okay.
You want to read it? You can take it. You want it for
No, it's all
future
right.
reading? Bedtime story.
I have some bedtime stuff. Has to do with a certain place I'm going to be on the 28th. And noise.
Huh?
Motocross.
28th, I sent you a notice on that, for the noise.
Yeah, I replied.
It's not a regional.
I'm about a mile away, I think, as the crow flies.
You'll hear it.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I hear NHMS when they're running.
All right, if there's no more business to come before us in a public or non-public session, then I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye.
Forget the politicians. They're politicians are put there. You have freedom of choice.
My home is going to wonder what I'm doing.
You have no choice.
Why are you here?
Oh, you.